Should PTOs have debit cards? I have a really strong position on this issue, and that is no, your group should not have a debit card. In my view, the cons far outweigh the pros of having the debit card. So I just don't even think it's necessary. I think, yes, it is a nice convenience. However, all the bad things that could happen as a result of your group having a debit card greatly outweigh that convenience factor. So one of the biggest drawbacks is that people are slackers about turning in receipts. Now, it's more than a couple years ago, but when I was at the lower elementary building and I was very involved in the PTA there, we got a debit card and the treasurer thought it was going to make life so much easier. But in fact, it was more work for her because people did not turn in receipts. And she would remind them and they go, yeah, we'll get to it. But they never turned them in. And so there was a big problem when it came to the audit. We didn't know how the money had been spent. We didn't know if it had been spent on things for the PTO or if the person who used the PTO debit card was using it to buy groceries for her family. You really have no control over it, and it's just not a good idea. The other thing is that debit card numbers are often stolen, and so a thief who has never actually put their grubby little paws on the debit card could easily drain your account of money that you need for programs, and then you'd be in a real bind. Now, if you've never had the absolute pleasure of this happening to you in your personal life, then you might not understand what a huge inconvenience it is. Now, true, banks have gotten faster about returning funds that have been inappropriately taken out of accounts faster, but it's still not instantaneous and it's still a giant nightmare to deal with. So save yourself the trouble by not even having that possibility of a thief getting a hold of your number in the first place, okay? So the next reason why I would say I do not get a debit card is that it just gives another avenue, like I talked about, for like people who don't know your group to steal from you. It's also an avenue for kind of embezzlement or misuse of funds from people who are involved with your group. And nobody likes to think about this, but the truth is there are some nefarious people out there who are looking for easy opportunities to take from others. And I believe that having a PTO debit card is just a low-hanging fruit because people are busy, they might not notice. And like I said, back earlier to my point of people not providing receipts, that's another reason. Like the other person who was not providing receipts, maybe she was just a slacker, but maybe she was stealing it. So you just don't know. And again, it's not that big of a deal to have someone reimbursed or to get reimbursed for a purchase if they don't have access to a credit card to make the purchase. Then they can ask somebody else in the group. Like they need to find a buddy who will do it, or you can get a purchase order from the vendor and pay with a check that way instead of using a credit card. So there's lots of different ways to avoid it. And I really think it's a bigger hassle than you will bargain for if something goes wrong. Like I just don't think it's worth it. So save yourself the trouble of the accounting issues and the issues that are going to come up if you don't have receipts from your auditor, and the potential for theft is just, in my opinion, it's not worth it. So skip the debit card and just stick with getting reimbursed or requesting a check to pay the vendors. All right, that is all it for this video. And if you enjoyed this, go ahead and subscribe to the PTO Answers channel so that you can be alerted when I upload new videos, which happens all the time. So until next time, you take care. Bye-bye.